Yeah, good morning, everyone. On behalf of MSCJ Trust and Mohammad Sadaq AJ Academy of Architecture, I welcome Professor Mohammad Harris, Dean and Advisor, Professor Mohammad Idris, our Principal, Professor Sadish Kumar T, our HOD and Convener, Professor Abdul Samad, our Design Chair, and architects, my dear colleagues, and faculties and students from all the batches. I take this opportunity to welcome you all for this wonderful session. And myself, Architect Janani, Associate Professor working in MSCJ, as a moderator for this annual lecture series of MSCJ 2021. We'll start this session with the topic of structural systems of architecture. And I extend this warm welcome to all for this annual lecture series. And I take immense pleasure to introduce our today's chief guest, Architect Aravind sir, who had more than 20 years of experience in the field of architecture, as well as practicing, as well as in the teaching field. And sir, we are really thankful for your presence and acceptance over here, and taking your time and allotting your busy schedule to attend our annual lecture series. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm proud to inform you here, and he has graduated from Hindustan College of Engineering and Madras University in 2001, and got his master degrees in Bharat Deemed University in 2014. And he was also an Honorable Joint Secretary of Indian Institute of Architects, Trivandrum. And he has the academic experience in several institutions, starting from MAM School of Architecture as an external guide reviewer for BArch student thesis panel, as well as for BArch Urban Studio Design reviewers. And in 2019 to 2020, he has worked as an external guide and reviewer for the design panel in SRM School of Architecture, and he has lots of other academic experience too. The external Vivas examiner for MCAP Trivandrum in Kerala, as well as the external Vivas examiner in CET Trivandrum, Kerala, in Bharat University, Chennai, and Chennai Academy of Architecture, as well as he has done lots of Autodesk and software programs in lecture series in lots of various institutions. And he also delivered the guest lecture in Hindustan Deemed University in Chennai. And he has lots of practicing field experience. In 2016 to 17, he has worked in the Verghese Panikkar Architects in Trivandrum, Kerala. He has played multiple roles as a design studio manager, as well as attending the site meetings and site supervisions and client coordinations. And he has lots of work experience and has led the design team with several projects, and worked with lots of various parts of the design teams within India. And also he has worked in the PTK Architects in Chennai, India, 2009 to 2016. And I'm again proud to inform you all, he has worked with architect Raj Raval Associates in 2002 to 2009. And he again played a multiple role in producing the schematic drawings presentation, as well as perspective of working drawings, and attending the site meetings with consultants. And he has a periodic supervisions with the site and client coordinations. And he has approved lots of contracting working drawings, as well as the design. He has guided lots of design interns and led the design team with various projects. And then in 2001 to 2, he has worked in the Abhimanyu Dalal Architects in New Delhi. And he has lots of computer skills, starting from AutoCAD, Autodesk, and 3D Max, with all the three-dimensional softwares, from Dynamo Lumion to all Revit, and all those, most of the softwares with relevant to architectural teaching equipments and tools. And he has participated in lots of the competitions as well. And here are a few to address here: international competitions, as well as within India. I'll just let you know the few of the competitions here. The Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow and Doon University in Dehradun, Legislative Assembly in Pondicherry, High Court Legislative Building and Secretariat Capital Complex in Manipur, Energy Technology Center in NTPC Noida, Airport in Udaipur, Domestic Airport in Udaipur, Metro Station, Akshardham, New Delhi, Taj Groups of Hotels and Gateway Hotels, an Indian Embassy in Shanghai, and here comes the international competitions, the Great Egyptian Museum in Giza, Egypt, as well as the Great Nile Petroleum and Oil Corporation office in Sudan, and Commonwealth Games in 2010, consortium with Arup Associates in London. And he has exhibited the works along with architect Raj Rival, which has the 40 years of works at New Delhi in India in 2002, as well as again the same exhibition has been done with Mr. Architect Raj Rival, with 40 years of his work at Parma in Italy in 2004. And he has worked lots of residential projects, especially the Modi's farmhouse in New Delhi and Dr. Sama's farmhouse in Mehrali, Hope Town School, Dehradun, the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Auditorium in Calcutta, and residence for Mr. C.S. Kanafi in Calcutta and Mr. Kabil Sibal's house in New Delhi. And one more important competition is urban development for Khyber Pass in Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Has one of the important competitions he has been participated, and also delivered lots of lectures in Hindustan Deemed University, Chennai Academy of Architecture about the Rival's architecture's work, as well as the presentation on each of the design with tools, lots of tools which exhibits the works in the Autodesk of Revit or most of the softwares. And these are all few works which has been given here to show the works of architect A.S. Aravind sir. Yes, sir. Our students were eagerly awaiting to hear something imbibed from your presentations. So I request Architect Aravind sir to enlighten our students with the structural systems in architecture. I welcome you once again, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to view my screen?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
It's clear now?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Right. Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the structural systems in architecture. Most probably, I believe, like me, most of you are not happy about the subject analysis and design of structures because it is more of mathematical. And when we come to the practical field, we give it to the structural engineers to design the structures. But we should understand the concepts to give them a structural concept. So for that purpose, understanding the structural systems in architecture is very important. So I will show you some of the most familiar structural forms to start with, so that you understand the subject clearly. So in today's field, you are very much familiar with load-bearing structure and RCC frame structure. Load-bearing structure is generally used for G+1 or maximum G+2 structure in today's scenario, and RCC frame structure for even multi-story buildings. So when you take a load-bearing structure, you have a foundation with renderable masonry or any type. Then you have a belt concrete and brick wall structure, and you have a lintel. It may be a cut lintel or a continuous lintel throughout. Then you have a slab. Then you have a first floor. This is the left side image shows you how the structure is done generally. You have a belt concrete and you have a ground floor brickwork. Then you have a lintel or the first floor, ground floor roof slab. Then you have the first floor load bearing walls. So here the walls are transforming the loads to the bottom level. That is a concept. In a frame structure, you have columns and beams which transfers the load of the slab to the foundation. This slide shows the typical elements of a load-bearing structure. You have a footing PCC at the bottom. When you excavate, you do some anti-termite treatment. Then you put a PCC bed. Then you make foundations. Then you have a DPC, and you have a brick wall. That is a DPC. They do it with belt concrete itself. Then brick wall and your windows. Then your lintels, lintel with lintel beam, depending on the span. Then you have a brickwork. Then you have a floor slab and parapet above. This is the general arrangement of how a load bearing structure is done. But in the case of a frame structure, it is a independent activity. Like you make the structure first, then you can fill the walls. Here, the brick walls will act like just a infill structure. But in the case of a load bearing structure, you have to do foundation. Then you have to all sequentially you have to do it. You cannot skip something and do the slab or something. You understand? So it's a systematic one. But in a frame structure, you do the structure. It is also systematic, but you do the structure first. Then you can do the infill walls and finishes at the later stage. So that is the way it differs. Now I will show you two foundation system generally adopted. I have not seen in Tamil Nadu this dry rubble masonry, but I think in some area of Tamil Nadu this is also will happening, because you don't have a cement and mortar used for the foundation. Just they dig about 2.5 feet or 3 feet depending on the soil condition. They excavate and start doing the foundation, and that is done with stone blocks and filled with small size stones. If you see this picture, you will understand the external face, you have a big stones, but in the middle you have a small pieces which can fill the gap. So that is also a skill needed to make such walls. But this is not a safe thing. I will explain it in the later slide. And the other way is you make it with a cement mortar and make a proper foundation. I will recommend this. I will not recommend the dry rubble, but I think due to economic reason, people adopt to drywall construction as well. Drywall construction is much faster when compared to cement and mortar based. So it both have its plus and minuses. This is the general load bearing structure, and it explains what happens in 2018 Kerala flood. So in most of the houses in Kerala, because when I was in Chennai, working in Chennai, I didn't realize that we can cut down the cost by doing load bearing structures, and it has some advantages. But when I came to Kerala, almost 90% residences are built with load bearing only for cost cutting, and most of the things are like, the client will supply the material and the contractor will do the construction on labor rate. So that is the case. So they are more cost concerned. Due to that, they adopt the load bearing structure. Also, some of the principles like Masters, Laurie Baker, and he also adopted load bearing structure to cut down the cost. So people adopted load bearing structure in Kerala for residential structures. So this is what happened. You see both sides you have water filled during the flood, and it puts the pressure on the wall, and the wall collapses. When the wall collapses, automatically the roof structure also collapses. So it causes damages to life and the infrastructure. And there is also a pressure from the underneath. So this is what happens when you do load bearing structure and it is open to natural calamities. This is another case where when you have a soil settlement, when you have soil settlement due to poor soil conditions or a cave or small trench made by some reptiles or something, then automatically the floor foundation will sunk in that area. When you have a drywall construction, what happens when one stone drops down, automatically all stones will drop and it will start developing cracks in that particular area. That's what happens with the dry stone foundation, a dry rubble masonry. I don't recommend that. But anyway, people are doing that due to cost concern. So this is one of the issues with the load bearing system. When you have a bad soil and when it settles, the structure will collapse. And it may be due to the foundation errors also. The Pisa Tower is one of the example you all know. And this is other issues. The DPC, if it is not properly done in a load bearing structure, due to capillary action, the water will enter into the building and it will spoil the wall and floors and everything. So the structure will start losing its strength, and over a period of time it will collapse. So that's what happened in a load bearing structure. I'm not against load bearing structure. These are the drawbacks. So one, how to take care of all these aspects while doing a load bearing construction. Because in today's housing demand, we need to see how to make it very economical. And in today, as on the scenario, the cost of construction is increasing like anything, because in last 2-3 months period, the cost of cement bag is gone from 300 to 400, and now it is around 480. So there's a huge increase in cost. So if we have to make the housing affordable for everyone, then we need to understand the system and we need to work accordingly. This is another small example. We have to learn it from the nature. We imagine a eggshell. When you apply pressure from both sides in a longitudinal axis with your hands, you will have difficulty in breaking it. I won't say it won't break. It will break, but you will have a great difficulty because of the geometry of the structure itself. But at the same time, the same egg is very easy to break it for its chicken, to come out, chick to come out. So the second picture shows that. And depending on the apex to the longer axis center, the more curve you get, the strength will be more. That is what this image shows. And you see the spider web. This is a very strong spider web, and this can span up to 2 to 3 meters in the forest, and it can stand with strong wind speeds. A small spider can make a small web. These are all structures, tiny structures made up of. We need such skills in certain areas. I will explain that in later part. But we all need to understand that each and every aspect what nature has, so that we can make structures accordingly to the situation. The second image shows the leaf pattern. You have a center spine and you have the secondary veins, and they are all spread and tying each other, and you have in between cells. So this is what the structural system of a leaf is, to understand that it can be spanned like that. Then a surface pattern of a seashell, and the internal strength is by the internal partition of the seashell. So these are all we need to understand how to make such kind of structural systems. And early buildings also were load bearing, and it's not limited to G+1 or 2 as today, and it made us a big tall structures like pyramid and our South Indian temples. And one of the best examples is Fatehpur Sikri Panch Mahal. It's a 5-story building without concrete and pillars in the sense the load-bearing pillars, stone pillars, and the chajas and the cupolas on top. So this is one of the best example, the Fatehpur Sikri. And the modern architecture is more about fluidic. People are more keen on fluidic architecture to go with when it is especially a museum or an art gallery or something, or an organic structure they believe. But the earlier structures were more geometric and more stable because of the geometry. So that was a structural system they followed. Today we are more advanced, so these are the systems available, and still our country is not so equipped to adopt all this system. First of all, we architect doesn't have knowledge about all this, so that is the reason we need to understand the structural systems in architecture. So there are almost 17 systems. We don't have examples for everything in our country as well as in the web, but you have a cable system, tent system, pneumatic system. These are almost 17 systems. Most of them are for long span structures, not used in day-to-day life, because when you go do housing structure, we will not do a cable system in a housing, but obviously definitely we may do a glass canopy with a cable system. So in some way, in a minuscule manner, all these systems are used somewhere or the other. So I request you people to take a note of all this 17 system and understand, because this 1 hour time period is not sufficient to cover all these structural systems, but I will try to cover up most of this. And it is I want you people to understand that this is more of an introductory system for a structural system and not a technical webinar. So I want you people to understand we need to understand the structural system and not their calculations, formulas, etc., etc. It is important. It is equally important. But when you go outside college, you have a practicing professional and an expert available whom you can hire and make use of them. But the problem is if you start using them for your small projects for houses, what happens? Your fees will go in that itself. Your project will not be viable for you because you for each and every structural consultant you may be getting peanuts and you have to share the peanuts to them also. So in that way you need to understand how the structural system works. So this is an example of a cable structure. You see mostly the bridges you will see. Especially, I will show you a few more examples. This is in China. Now it is closed because of the glass floor, the failure of the glass floor, because it almost killed 300 people in all over China. In China, there are almost 40 such glass bridges made to attract tourists. But unfortunately, there are accidents during rainy season. The floors were slippery. Such reasons, there are accident happens and many people died. So now all the glass bridges are closed in China at the moment. So if you see this image, it's all cable running from one end to the other, and it's all other Thai members they supporting the bridge, and there are so many people walking. You imagine each person is weighing about 75 kg. So you imagine what is the structural weight and the live load and total what will be the load and how this structure is fantastically made. This is the suspension bridge built in Kerala. It's Punalur. Now it is only a memorial and a tourist interest part and not for any vehicular movement. It is built in 1877. This is a suspension bridge. It's very nicely done at that time itself by the Thiruvidanger kings with the support of Britishers. On the right side, you see the Millennium Dome with the mast protruding out and how it is supported so with the cables. The bottom picture shows some of the cable joints available in today's market, how it can be tied to the main anchor to the main support. The left side picture will explain you the simple concepts. See, when you have a straight rope dropping down with the help of a weight, and when it is pulled to the right side, it gives a geometry, it gives to the shape to the rope. Then it is pulled further, it takes another shape, and such two members are tied together in the middle. Then it forms a big span like this. So you imagine the right side image, you have a rope for tied in the other end and this end, and it has a, if it is left free, it will just take a parabola shape. Now it is tied to the bottom with their loads so that it takes this shape. Hope you understood this. So that is the way. In the second image, if you see on the left side, you have a load and you have two support points. You see the cross section available here, it is too small. When these supports are moved further and furthest, you will have a big span to cover up. So you can do long span structures like this. See, this beam structure is spanning from that end to this end. So that is the way it is done. So the cable structures are generally used for long span structures, and majorly because of the cost, it is done for the bridges so that they don't have to disturb so much of the environment below, the forest, mountains. So for those reasons, cable systems are adopted. We are using it in India even for the winch car, and even for bridges we have this, and for the glass canopy we have this. See here, this is another system. It is a single rope tied to two ends. This is two ropes. There's a single rope tied, and in the center you apply a load so that it is taking a triangular geometry. Then if you move the load to the one direction, either to left or right, it takes another geometry. You see that. So the geometry is flexible with cable system. So you need to understand that if you need to create something of this. So if you don't understand this, you will not be able to make it. This is a similar example. You see this 2 points are fixed and the rope is falling this because of the dead weight. And the second image, you see that it is forming a parabola because you have a symmetrical load in all the points. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Am I audible? Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you have a rope, and when you have a uniformly load applied to the ropes, it takes a parabola. It takes, you see this image, the depth of the sketch shows the load applied. So it takes the shape of an ellipse. And when you have a single load applied, it takes a triangle. When you have a two loads applied at two different points apart, it takes a trapezoidal shape. And when you have a different points, it takes a polygonal shape. So that is the way cable works. Next, we will see the tent system. Tent system is very common because in the olden days, we used to make temporary structures with the help of tent system. Now we are making even permanent structures with the help of tent systems. So we will see the tent system. There are evidences that ancient Colosseum Rome is covered with the fabric at the top. So it is not new to the human society. It is a very old technology, but it is modernized with the advancement of techniques available in today's world. The right side sketch shows the plan and how it is supported. It is supported at 4 points, and then it is 4 or 5 points, and then it is spreading to the top, and the top and bottom is tied with the help of the rope. So cables are used in tent systems also. And depending on the supporting systems, there are 4 types of tent systems. The first one shows the saddle roof, and the second one is the mast supported. You have a central mast and is supported on that. The third is the arc, so a series of arc frames are fixed and the fabric is put on the top of it. Then the combinations, as I mentioned, with the use of cable and post and the mast, these are the different combinations we can make. So in today's large span structures, exhibition pavilions, all made with not only exhibition pavilions, even swimming pools, everywhere these fabric structures are being used. Generally in for the common design, people are today using for tensile structures for car parking areas in a minuscule manner. A fabric tensile structure like this will cost minimum 700 to 1,000 rupees per square feet. The next system is pneumatic system. Pneumatic system is also known to us. It is like, the air pillow. To tell you in a very understandable way, it is an air pillow. So that is the pneumatic system. The pressurized air is filled in so that the skin get the geometry of the volume of air inside, and the air will act like an insulator. That is the way the pneumatic system works. These are some of the systems. You see here, you have a compressor fixed to it, which air pump compressor, the air pump fixed to it, so that it maintains the pressure in the roof structure, so that the membrane is taking its geometry, and both sides it is tied with the cable so that it is fixed and not allowed to move. So that is the way pneumatic structures are made. These are some of the other pictures with the frame supported structure, how it is done, even with the tension in the tent system, how it is done. These are some examples. Basically, there are some advantages like it's lightweight and it can span huge length, and it is economical as well comparatively in abroad, not here. Then it can be built quickly, and because it's factory made and just you have to assemble at site, and it is temporary as well. So these are some of the pictures will give you idea. This is a small house, you can say. When you go for trekking, if you need to live, need to take a short stay, you can use such structures. These are all available in market nowadays. These pictures will give you some idea how this can be made in, how it can be made in the landscape, in a tourism development. So this will give you some better idea. So you see this picture, this is the old concept. So that's what I was saying, pneumatic structures are not new to us. This is very old concept, but using the modern technology, it is transformed and it taken its own shape. Then arc system. Arc system is nothing we are all familiar with. Before post and lintel construction, we used to make arc systems so that it spans for more length. That is a simple concept in arc, and that is what adopted. These pictures will give you some idea how the arch frames are fixed in, say, with some equal distances, and the top is covered with roof structures, and it is given with floating panels in this picture, and in the third picture it is supported with a post or something to form a roof. So these are the different ideas with the arc structures we can make. This is also existing in the world. You see this canopy, glass canopy, how nicely it is done with the supporting structures with arches. Now, flat truss system, I'm not going in depth of truss system because you have so many types of truss system. We will not be able to cover up everything. This is a flat truss system. You see, the top and bottom members are parallel and almost the equal length. That is the basic concept for the flat truss system. Not like king post and queen. I hope you must have heard all those truss system names. This is the simplest way. This is widely used in India, mainly in hospitals between two blocks to connect them. In a later stage, they put this fancy connecting corridor with this kind of structural system. You must have seen it. And this is another canopy. You see, like a shading device or the extension of the roof, whatever you call. You have a flat truss system. And this is the normal conventional industrial structure truss system, what you have today. You have different designs. If you are familiar with steel structures and industrial architecture, then you will understand the terms called the lattice, portal, etc. So you can make this kind of a truss system, and this can cover longer spans. And this is the PEB system. This is the most advanced version of this. It is a pre-engineered building system. So this is what so many types of truss shapes, and I don't want to get into it, but depending on the utilization point of view and the span length, different systems are adopted. Even if you want to have a cantilever thing, this inverted truss is also adopted. This is a curved truss system. The similar thing, what it is, it is not straight. The arch is strengthened with a truss system. So it is curved truss system. You see the segment of an arc and the chord, and in between you have the lacing. So that is the way it works. This is a building in Sriperumbudur. You must have seen this. And this is the circus tent or something. If you make, where you can have this kind of systems. And space truss and frame system. This is also not new to the industry. Buckminster Fullers geodesic tomb, everybody know. So there are space trusses as well as space frame also. This is space trusses. You see this, it is not a single top and bottom member. It's a triangular truss member like a space frame. So this is called space truss. It is on either direction. This direction as well as this direction. It is spanning in two directions, and taking its own shape. This is a space frame, and most of you may not have seen this picture. They must have seen the finished structure. So I want to show you how these structures are done. You see steel construction on a concrete structure inside, and it is a combination, but the outer skin is made up of space frame structure. So I hope this is clear to you all. And you see the panels fixing to the internal surfaces. Similar way it is fixed to the outer surface also to make it waterproof and finished structure. These are the different geometries for these space frame structures. When you make one module, the modules can be based on a tetrahedron or a hexahedron or octa or duodeca and icosaur. So this is the way it is done, and from the geometry how it is made. The joints are called nodes in a space frame structure, and this is a picture of one node, and this is another type of joint. This is ball joint. Generally it is called as ball joint with a threaded system. Here it is just a inserting method. Ball systems are much more stronger. If you must have seen this in toll plazas. So I will show you a sample image of that. This is how this looks like in a plan in a space frame and how it is supported. The same members are extended here. It's not necessarily RCC wall. It can be RCC column as well, only at wherever you support or you want it to be supported. This is the erection of toll plaza near Gummidipoondi. You see that with the help of crane it is being erected, and these tiny joints are not visible there. So here before erection we have taken some pictures. It's not our project. I went there to study the space frame structure long time back. So I have taken this picture. So you see this bottom frame, and this is fixed to the RCC column or the steel column, and top you have cleats to support this one ball, and from here it springs to more modules. So this is a closer picture of the space frame, and you will be able to see the joints, and this is one joint, how this is fixed, and this is one joint. Hope you understand, and it is very rare to see these pictures. Now we'll go through folded structural system. Folded structural system is nothing but in a simple way. You take a A4 paper instead of keeping it flat, just fold it in equal distances. Then you will get a same material. The material is same, but the strength is more. Over top of that, you can keep another paper. So that is the way the folded structural system works. It's in very common, very easy way I explain. You see in the staircase designs, you must have seen the folded plate technology in the staircase design. The conventional method is making a base slab, and top of that you make brickwork. And in the modern way, particularly especially architects like the folded plate technique, so that the same thickness of the treads and rises are maintained. So that way it makes the folded staircase. So this is this slide shows the folded plate systems, how it can be made. So as I mentioned, it's a very similar small understanding of the method. When you understand it, you will be able to make very nice structures like this. You say this, it's Air Force Chapel, how it is done. So combination of even concrete or even steel, you can choose any material. Choosing material is the secondary thing. First is the structural system, what you want to adopt. Then what is the strength you need? Suppose in concrete, you have limitations like how long I can span with concrete. So when it comes that you adopt steel, and steel has sometimes resistance, then you look for cable. So that is the way it goes. So see this nice shell structural system. It's a chapel. We have a few structures in India, not so many. One or two are very famous, not everything. It's difficult to make, but because you need skilled labors for this to get this geometry properly, otherwise it will be a big mess. You see the right side image, how the scaffolding is done for a shell structure. So once it is done, when it is self-supported, then the scaffoldings are removed. And hardly you see this thickness of the slab is 8 inches or even 1 feet. That's it. Lotus temple, everybody knows, that's made of a similar concept, shell structures. Here I want to make one point. You see, when you ask, when you go for a college tour or when you go for a trip, if you ask someone or the group that shall we go to the museum, people will say, no, we are fed up of museum, or this is a religious building. For the matter, you imagine a religious building. Don't say that word, Lotus temple, and if you say, can we go to a religious building, people will say, no, I don't want to, because they are fed up of it. But see, this building attracts more tourists, irrelevant of its religious, but it's a Baha'i, Islamic, Baha'i community people building, and it attracts thousands of people. It is because of it is geometry. It is structural system. That is the beauty, structural beauty. All these structures, see, the most important thing is when you understand the structural system, you don't have to make or spend extra for making it more beautiful, because the structure itself is beautiful. That you have to understand. You know all this building, TWA terminal, again shell structure, City Opera House, shell structure again. There are, when you say vertical structures, there are almost 11 subdivisions. We will see that. Rigid frames. Rigid frames are nothing but, you have a column and beam joined. When they are fixed and they are not unable to move, it is called rigid. So these are called rigid frames. Yeah, beam and a column makes a frame. So that's a rigid frame. That's why we call frame structures. So when there is no movement allowed, it is called rigid frames. So you make a frame and in between you create a void. So that space will be used for different purposes. That's the way rigid frames works. These are the different notes which explains you need more height because of the beam, depending on your span, your beam depth, concrete depth will increase. So you need to increase your height accordingly to have efficient space down. Braced frames are apart from the columns and beams, you have lattice or a bracing members on the side as well to increase the strength, to tying up together. These bracings are done with against ropes or rods or even concrete member itself. Infill frame is again taking advantage of load bearing as well as frame structure. You use infill material for structural purpose. They are called infill frames. They are not safe because when there are expansion and contraction, that create problem. Also, if you rent out one floor, what happens? The new tenant may break the wall. So it is not safe to adopt this system. That is the reason always it is done as a frame system, and bricks are only used as infilled walls. The shear wall systems are really very good against seismic forces. And you see this picture, it is like it is a kind of an office building. You have central core where you may have a lift and toilets and maybe a staircase also. And you have a structural shear walls built in the corners, and in the in-betweens. So they create a rigid structure so that in between you have a lot of space without column. So wall frame structure, you have shear walls, along with that you have frame also. Already I mentioned frame means it is the pillar and beam, and they are tied together. So it's a wall frame structure. Coupled walls means you have a parallel walls built. It's a shear wall only. It's a built, and you will have punches in between, so that they all act like parallel walls, and it will have better strength. Framed tube structure. When I say tube structure, I want you people to understand one more thing. Imagine a cigarette cover. I'm sorry. You imagine a cigarette cover. When you have imagine that skin of the paper of the cigarette cover is the concrete thickness you got. Okay, and you have a hollow void inside. That is the space available. Now you try to keep a A4 paper on top of it. What will happen? The paper will stand on top. Maybe because of its dead weight, it may sag on the edges. Doesn't matter. What I am trying to make a point is how the system works in a cigarette cover and the material and the surface area available for the load to transfer. Now you do a shear apply. You apply shear to the cigarette cover. What happens when you apply shear? It is an opposite direction forces, right? So it becomes thin. So your concrete surface is the same. Concrete quantity, concrete material same. Now you try to keep the paper on top, the paper will fall. So what do you understand from this? It is about the cross-sectional area available for the load to transfer. So that is important. So you imagine a column size of square column or rectangular column, it's all matters because it is all about the cross-sectional area available for the load to transfer. That is a basic concept. Then you do your concrete grade and steel dia bars, dia of steel bars, etc. That is different. The basic concept is what is the cross-sectional area available for the load to transfer. So that based on that, this tube technology, frame tube structures works. So here you see each model is one tube. So about 9 tubes are clubbed together and side tubes are removed, still they stay. So this is the way tube structures are made. So here you will have series of columns. You may not have in between columns, only in the edges you will have series of columns. This image shows a side braced tube structure. Again, you have a in between tube and you have bracing. You see this image, you have a wherever you have bracing there, the windows are not there. This bracing can be done with concrete or steel or whatever. In the seismic conditions, it is done with dampers as well. Dampers is nothing but a big level suspensor. You know, in bike you have suspension, this two forks. The same thing, but in an advanced way. So in the outer side alone, each floor you have a bracing, not to 2-3 floors. Each floor will have an outer side bracing. The suspended structure, you see, you have a central core. You have a central core, and the slabs are extended on all sides, so that is suspended. I will show you a building example, but it's a combination. It will look like this, but it's a different system. I will show you. This is a tube in tube. So this is another example how the bracing is done. And when you do tall towers, it is very much, imagine a coconut tree. Due to wind, how it moves around. The bottom is fixed, the top is free. So it will take, it will take circle like this. To stop that, what you have to do? You have to hold it at the top, right? Then it will stop rotating like that. So to hold it on top, what is the way to do? We can't just do it like that with the hand, right? So what is the way to do it? So building water tanks or dampers, heavyweight structure on top, it makes it stay more stable, because due to gravity, the gravitational force act to the bottom. So that will become more stable. This is one of the concept in tall structures. This is again space structures with a truss system. You see the side walls are braced together. See, this bracing and all can be used in even glazing, not only for the building structure. That's what I said. You see, when I was talking about the spider web, I was telling that not only for the complete structure, even for a small part of the structure, you need to understand structural system for like a glass canopy for a window. This is a hybrid structure. Combination of two or more systems are called hybrid structures. This is along with the space frame it is done. So these are some basic concepts to understand. See, imagine this beam. It has parallel faces on either side. When you put a load in the middle, the top surface is in compression. Compression in the sense what? Pressing it from both sides. That is what happens. So the actual length gets shortened. That is compression. And the bottom one, that is get elongated. So if you do the reinforcement detail, in the midspan, you will have more stirrups for the beams. So that is the way it works. When a beam is subjected to a load, the top surface is in compression, the bottom in tension. The bottom, we will add extra rods to add its strength. I want you people to understand these concepts very much because in today's world, particularly in housing, because before you became a big architect, first you have to be a small architect who does housing sector projects. But here, the most of the housing sector projects are taken away by civil engineer groups because they understand the structural systems better. They know economy, everything. Design is our cup of tea, but economy, the rest is their cup of tea. They are doing that. That is why they are successful in that business. So I want you people to understand all this. The second sketch, you see holding a ruler flat. So there will be if you try to bend it, it will bend in the middle when you keep it flat. At the same time, if you keep it straight, the material component is same. You imagine this is concrete. The volume of concrete is same. But how you keep the geometry? Instead of keeping it flat, if you keep it on its edge, it will be difficult to break as well as difficult to bend. That is what we need to understand. The material is same, the cost is same. How you are putting it, that you need to understand. Now, these are all other concepts for inspiration. You see the skeleton of animals and natural organisms. You see this. There is some rhythm in it. This is adapted to understand the structural system. You have a main spine and the secondary spines. These are all converted to steel members and you get a system out of it. So these are some of the images for you to understand. This, zoomorphic architecture or kinetic architecture, whatever you can call, is a Santiago Calatrava building. It's a museum. This is one of the examples for kinetic architecture. These are all connected with the sensor system. So depending on the outer temperature and internal air conditioning requirement, the skeleton, this or I will call it as a wings. These wings will close the facade and reduce the exposure to the sun. So this is adopted from such technology, I believe, maybe from wings of a bird. You see. So this is the way how it closes. You can see this video in YouTube or even in some web portal, how this building is a kinetic building, automatically it closes. So this is again how nicely it is done with inspiration from nature. You see this, it is like a fish bone. Again, this is a space frame again concept, but it is done with concrete, and that this building is no more. Everybody know this is a project of my earlier office, the Hall of Nations in Pragati Maidan. It's no more. It's all. It is a success of structural engineer and architect. You see, for any success of a building, I strongly believe that the structural engineer and architect have to work together. Most of the cases, we say that the structural engineer didn't understand my idea. True, they may not be able to understand because they are governed by mathematics and formulas. We are creative. We break the rules. They don't break the rules. That is, they are rigid. That is the reason we get conflict into. If, in other words, if I have to explain in a very simple way, what is the difference between architects and civil engineer? Civil engineers are governed by mathematics, and they know only A plus B equal to C. That's it. But architects, we know bit of mathematics and more creative. We are governed by creativity. That is the big difference. So these buildings of Calatrava are the product of a structural engineer, and he himself a structural engineer, he himself an architect. That is the plus point of this building. He understands both. That is why he was able to make nice sculpture, zoomorphic architecture like this. So this is again, you see this vertical strips. Sorry, these vertical strips. They are cores, toilet cores, and structural cores, lift and other things. And these are all Virindial girders. Virindial girders are nothing. This one floor itself act like a beam. They are clubbed together. In the next sketch, you will see. You see this. This are each floor. I'm sorry. You see this. This each floor will act like a beam, complete beam. So this can. The basic concept is when you span for long distances, your beam depth will increase. So with the help of Virindial girder, you can make structures like this, which can span long distances. This is INSA building, International Science Academy in Delhi. Here also the structural systems are like, it is actually not a cantilever. It's look like a cantilever. It's not cantilever. This is the core, and this end is a shear wall. So the slabs are spanned between the core and the shear wall and forming nice terraces. These are some of the images. This is again scope building. Here, as I mentioned, the cigarette cover concept. This is each core. This is a column core. I'm sorry. Each column core is like a cigarette packet because it's a void. This is one column core, and this is connecting and spanning in between how the mossing is done. You see, this is another core. So from here to here it is spanned. Here it is cantilevering. Here it is spanning directly. So this is the way the mossing is done in this project. This is what I was explaining. And this is again a project in Delhi. It's a great city. It's a Japanese client. You see this glass brick dome on top. Architecturally, we don't prefer the ISMC, ISLC angle sections. We prefer circular tubes because they are very smooth surface and gives better visual appealing appearances. So that's why it's a glass brick dome. Maybe in India, for the first time, it is done in a dome. Maybe floors are there. It's a Roger Wells building, and I worked in this project. You see, these glass bricks are held together with concrete beams. The thin lines are actually concrete beams. Concrete beams in the sense they are very thin, actually. You see, if you have seen glass blocks, in between glass blocks, there are gap. So in between, galvanized steel is used for reinforcement, and the structure is made. You see this? These big panels are just glass blocks, not glass blocks, glass sheets itself. These are doubly glazed in the sense two glass sheets are stuck together with 1.5 mm PVB layer. This is the internal images of the Japanese IT park. So this is again Lisbon Ismail Center. You see the scale of the structure. There is no cement involved in it. It is all stone and steel. It is a composite structure used with the use of ropes. You see, ropes are used here for tension members and tying everything together. This is the external facade. These are the granite. Some of the images. This is the internal perspective. And this is the Parliament Library. Sorry. This is the VIP dome in the Parliament Library. You see the top structure. It's a steel structure made up of wooden cladding and concrete shell with a light skylight. And this side you have glass blocks. And these windows are openable as well from the terrace when are accessible to open it. And the central hall dome. You see these joints are specially designed. And in India, we don't have technology to design that. So this is designed by RFR Paris in France. From CPWD, they send the details to RFR Paris with the support of Rajrual, and it is designed there and it is implemented. The center you have the national emblem, and this is the joint which is designed outside India with ropes. This is the library area where have steel structures, tubeless steel structures with a skylight and wooden cladding. This is the auditorium. This is again, I'm sorry. When you say about supports, we are confused sometimes because when our structural design master, teacher, lecturer says that pinned joint, rigid joint, roller joint, we don't know what is it. This is done by me in Bangalore, I think in 2007 or so. It is a roller joint, roller support. So I have recorded this. I thought it may be future. Today it is being used for you people. You see this, it's a ball. This roller is supported. This is the ball which is inserted, and that is kept down, upside down. The ball is now supported or lying over this plate. And this is the top beam, and is welded, and it is fixed on the sides, and it is grinded to take the side beam, ring beam, what we call as ring beam. And the ring beam is placed in position, and all alongside all the sides the ring beam is kept, and over the top this has been the glass panels. For the glass panel erections, the frames are fixed over the steel tubes and the glass are fixed. So all the supports you have 1, 2, it's an octagonal shape. So 8 columns are there. All the 8 columns will have this kind of a roller support. So this is not a rigid dome. When there is a seismic movement, what happens? This ball will allow the structure to move, and this side supports, this side steel supports, that will stop the dome to slip out of this collar. So that is the way it is designed. So it is allowed for movement, but not to slip away. So it is a free structure kept on top. This is the roller support. This is my project ongoing construction in Telangana. In this, the client is Malaysian-based GMP goods manufacturer. So his main raw material is a mushroom. He makes Ganoderma. So out of that mushroom, he want to make a marketing building. I mean, his entrance himself should market his product. He wanted that way. So I made this. And when I made this, my structural engineer said, no, it is not possible. We cannot make it we cannot do this kind of structures here, they said. Fortunately, when Madam was reading my biodata or my profile, she was mentioning many softwares. That is what helped me to make this building practically possible. I designed this in the BIM module, BIM concept in Revit using technology. So when the structural engineers said it is not possible, I told them each member I could make a tabular form out of that model I made, a 3D model I made. I could make a table. What is the dia? What is the angle? What is the length? What is the curvature? What is the radius? So all the parameters I could take out and I gave it to them and say, I can make all these numbers and I can build this. So what is the problem in designing it? Then they realized that it is possible to do. They asked me for the model. I gave it to them. Then they did the analysis using the software Tekla and ETAP. Then this is getting erected in Telangana. So I think we almost finished our design presentation on the structural system in architecture. Hope it is beneficial to you people. So any comments, anything?
Yes, sir. It was a wonderful session and eye-opening for the students. Now it's time for posting your queries in the chat box. Students, you can start posting your queries in the chat box. And before that, I just call upon few students from 4th years to give their views towards your lecture, sir.
Hello. Yes, sir. I wanted to thank you for taking your time out and presenting all these structural details like this. It was very useful for us. And also, for the first time, I was looking at how the roller support works, and that was really amazing. So thank you. Thanks a lot. But besides that, I had a doubt about the Parliament library that you had shown, and it's more about the design of it, because I wanted to know why it was designed like that, because that one dome has multiple smaller domes within it with a lot of glass openings in between. So is there any ideology in the design?
Yes. Because originally when the design concept was evolved for the competition, when Mr. Rival did the project, what happened, he don't want the building to dominate the Parliament building. He respected the Parliament building. He imagined the Parliament building as a guru and the library what he is making as a another building, subordinate building. We should give respect each other. So that is the way it is done. So what happened, if you build something very close in a above structure, it will totally take away the vista of a central vista area. So he made it as almost like a basement structure. So what happened when this structure, he already have such experience because his Nehru Memorial in Pragati Maidan, I think that is also demolished now. That is an underground structure, but the natural light flows in. Another example in Indian history is like the step wells. You have all around you have them, and the light flows from the top. So this concept he adopted in the Parliament Library building. Even you have several basements. The topmost slab which is exposed to sunlight. There you have glass bricks in the horizontal surface. You don't have a concrete slab. You have glass bricks. So the light is allowed inside, and they are all carefully designed, not just thrown in place for the light sense. Because he was concerned about air conditioning cost and the heating cost. So considering that with the thermal properties considered, and we proposed glass box on all the sides. So that is the reason in a center place you have domes allows more light to flow in. That is the idea.
Yes, sir. We have one question from our faculty, Architect Pallavi. What do you think is the best way to make students interested in understanding structural systems in architecture?
Madam, it is a very interesting question what you asked, because when I was out of college, I don't know about all these things. But when I went out for a job, I realized that particularly, especially working with Raj Rival understanding, working for competitions, I realized that the making, there we don't give the floor plan elevation section to the structural consultant. We make a structural system, how the building we want it to be. We draw the beam pattern. We don't say the beam depth. In such cases, some cases, for example, where we have a stone cladding, the stone is available only 600 mm depth. There we say that we don't want the beam depth to be more than 600 mm. We say they restrict that. Otherwise, we make just a beam pattern drawing and give it to the structural consultant, and we ask them to design it. So each student, I would say that each student must draw their structural system also to understand how it is going to build or how it will stand. They have to make it. Nowadays, I see that students will not even mark their column positions because they are not confident enough. But you see a civil engineer, when he is out of college, he's just going and building any nonsense. Let our students do mistakes in the college level itself. Let them do column position. Let them do wrongly. We will correct it for them. Let them learn how it can be done. Then when they go outside, they will do a better business. So that's what I feel. And they have to develop a self-interest to observing things. See, I don't have a picture of DMRC headquarters building. There is in the top, there is a complete ring pergola, glass pergola running around in the top level. Okay, the inspiration is from the eyelid and eyebrow. Because I was working in that project, I know the inspiration is from eyebrow. Even though we have eyelid, how the eyebrows are there as a, like a canopy, it stands out and protects our eyes, giving little shade. So the concept is, you have to look into very minute details to understand the system and how to implement it in a better way. In the similar way, another building, National Brain Research Center and the courtyard. In the courtyard, we have actually it was designed as a courtyard. Then the client said, we like to have a little shade in that. We don't want it to be fully covered, but we want to have a little shade in that. So Mr. Rival worked for a concept, and finally he adopted a beautiful stainless steel rope system, which it is actually in the geometry, it is not square, it is a triangle, the courtyard. And the courtyard is almost a triangle. So from the one corner, he made the ropes to run radially to opposite side. And in between, he implemented stainless steel plates, all perforated plates, that also. Okay, so this inspiration came from simple street festival concept. In the festivals, what we do, நம்ம தெருல எல்லாம் கொடி கட்டுவோம் இல்லீங்களா, ஆப்போசிட் டைரக்ஷன்ல கொடி கட்டுவோம் இல்லீங்களா, ஃபிளாக்ஸ் எல்லாம் இப்படி ஆடிட்டு இருக்கும் பாருங்க காத்துல. Simple. And the concept, he took it and made it a stainless plate because that need to be rigid and strong enough. So he made that concept and everybody was happy because the stainless steel plates with time strong means it flutter and makes some little noise. So that is also nice to hear in that courtyard. That makes more sensible and sensational architecture there, and it was very successful. So this is another example I said. So people have to develop their own interest to understand and make concepts. Hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Next, is there any students to share your views? Yeah, Nandini.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Thank you for that wonderful session. It was a very needed session for us. So I totally accept the fact that structures play a major role in architecture. So now that the technology is improving every day worldwide, we get to see different structural systems all around the world. But when it comes to India, I think we are still stuck with the typical concrete structures. So of course, there are few structural wonders in India also, but there are very few, like very countable structures. So what do you think the reason could be? Is it the non-availability of materials, or the not enough knowledge of the architects or structural engineers, or we are just afraid of trying new things?
Yeah. So the reason I given this topic to your ma'am is I want students of architecture to aware about structural systems, because if you don't have books on this topic actually. If you take a book, it is written by a structural engineer only, and it is all line drawings, which is all above our ears. We couldn't understand what it is, what is drawn, stress, strain, force, shear. It is very difficult for us to understand. For us to understand easily, I thought of making this session, and this is the first time I'm taking this subject actually. When madam asked me what is the topic, I thought this need to be taught, because I have 20-year experience, and I don't know how many more buildings I will be able to make. I thought whatever I gained, I will share it to students so that it is more meaningful. So that is the reason I took this topic. As you mentioned, we have technology, but we are doing it in a very minuscule manner only. We are not using it. That is because we don't have awareness. We don't have proper guidance. As architect ourselves, we don't have not much knowledge about all these structural systems.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other queries to be asked? No. Okay. I'll just call upon student representative Samyukta to convey the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity to propose a word of thanks. On behalf of Mohammed Sadak AG Academy of Architecture, I would like to say a heartfelt thanks to Architect Aravind for having us all constantly engaged. I think it was because of the clarity the session had provided us with in understanding the fundamental concepts of structures, the various systems, from familiar ones to insights into the contemporary systems, and also constantly reminding us about the references to nature and the inspirations that we can draw from them. It was very thought-provoking and enriching session. Sincerely grateful for your time and efforts, sir. I would now like to thank Architect Janani for organizing this, and the management for also this for convening this wonderful and interesting lecture. Finally, I would like to thank the participants, the students, and the faculty of Mohammed Sadak AG Academy of Architecture for being interactive. Thank you all.
Yeah, I just want to know, is that a fruitful session? Is that useful? Or you want me to add more to this?
So this is completely useful. It takes so much time to actually absorb this firstly. So it was great, sir. Thank you so much.
Is that too much for you, actually?
No, sir. It wasn't, sir.
Okay.
I think most of the participants here are from the 4th years. So it was great, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, it was very interesting to hear your experiences and your work with all the buildings, and especially when you're connecting the structural theory to all your buildings. It was very interesting to learn that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And constantly we were learning about roller joints and hinge joints, and only now we got to see all those pictures, those RAS pictures. So thank you for that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Practically, students, they have got an opportunity to look into the pictures which we can't see in reality in the construction field. As a student, they have gained, you have enlightened our students with your practicing efforts and all those things. Thank you for your valuable time, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.